Thanks for letting me stay on with your crew, Captain. I plan to be a very generous queen to all my friends.
I can see we're gonna get along just fine, your high exaltedness.
Don't start with that. Risha will do fine. For now. Every captain needs a good first mate. Corso doesn't know what it takes to run a starship. But I do. Considering the light years you've been racking up, I suggest a hyperdrive overhaul and a sublight engine tune-up. Which do you want first?
We're always in a hurry. See if you can squeeze some extra thrust from the engines.
Consider it done. I'll be indispensable before you know it. Bet you were surprised to see I can hold my own in a fight. I'm pretty good with a blaster. My father taught me to shoot when I was 4 years old.
Was Nock that desperate for muscle?
He thought an armed toddler was more reliable than his own people. Father wanted me self-sufficient as early as possible. Said I'd need it to survive. He was right. I still remember the day he told me he was going to sleep for a while. Said I was on my own.
Nock was in that carbonite for a decade. Weren't you still counting birthdays on one hand?
I was 11. Made my first solo hyperspace jump and flew to Dantooine. Father had a hideout there. Talk about your one bantha planets. For a few years, Dantooine's population was doubled thanks to me and Father frozen in carbonite.
You talk a lot about Nock, but you've never mentioned your mother.
She died when I was young. I don't remember her. Looking back, I should have been miserable. But it was just a big adventure. Speaking of which, we're overdue for some more excitement. What do you say we get back to our latest caper? Sometimes I can't believe you actually got back my crown. Do you know how many spacers died looking for it? Don't take this the wrong way, but when we first met, I thought you'd end up like all the others.
I never thought you had anything less than total confidence in me.
I learned pretty fast not to underestimate you. What I'm really saying is, thanks. I wouldn't be where I am without you.
You don't have to thank me, Risha. We're not business partners anymore.
That's all the more reason to say something. Anyway, didn't mean to slow us down. I'm sure we have plenty to do. I think I figured out why we get along so well, Captain. We're both restless people. It's how we survive. Trouble loves us, and we just keep on moving. Eventually, Trouble gets tired of following and gives up.
There's always more trouble where that came from.
Exactly. Isn't it wonderful? There wasn't nearly enough trouble growing up on Dantooine. After being a crime lord's daughter, sitting around got dull real quick. I had a big library of holo recordings from my father, but I could only watch them so many times.
You still had a starship. I'm guessing you weren't long for Dantooine.
By the time I was 14, I'd had enough. I buried Father's carbonite chamber someplace safe and hit the hyperlanes with a new identity. Those were good times. I met Duran and Adila, got mixed up with Beryl Thorne, lived a life of crime.
I'm sure Nock was proud of your accomplishments.
Actually, he was disappointed I didn't have my own criminal empire. I was having too much fun on my own. I'm starting to enjoy these chats, but I'm feeling restless. Let's go find some trouble. I envy you, Captain. You'll always be free to do as you please. That all changes for me, once I'm a queen.
Dubrillion is getting along fine without you. Do what makes you happy.
Ruling a planet has its perks. I should at least give it a try. I've studied records about the Drayan dynasty. They started from humble beginnings, distinguished themselves as war heroes, officially anyway. In reality, they backstabbed their way to power just like every other ruler. Some were better at it than others.
Why didn't Nock make his own play for the throne? He was king of the backstab.
He knew recovering the crown was essential to establishing legitimate rule. It's not enough to conquer a world, you have to hold it too. Father had his failings, but he inspired loyalty. Whenever he defeated a rival gangster, he always freed the enemy slaves. He gave them a choice: join him or take their chances elsewhere. No recriminations for anyone who left. The rest became family.
I don't think Nock's definition of family is the same one in the dictionary.
He gave them regular meals, shelter, and a chance to make their own fortunes. There was this one little Twi'lek girl who joined us. Best thief I ever met. Got into all sorts of trouble together. We were like sisters, but when Father's organization collapsed, we got separated. I never found out what happened to her.
Never too late to find her. If she's as good a thief as you say, she might come in handy.
That was a long time ago. Sometimes it's better to leave the past alone. You're really bringing out my chatty side today. That usually means I need to get some exercise. Let's find something more exciting to do than stand around. If I'm going to take over Dubrillion, I can't keep looking for allies in the same old places. The scum of the galaxy isn't as useful when you're stealing a throne. I need a better class of accomplices.
No matter what you're stealing, you can always use a little scum to grease the works.
I already have that covered, Captain. You're worth 100 normal scum. And I mean that in the nicest way. There are some interesting rumors out of Dubrillion. Turns out the aristocracy is unhappy with the king. Some nobles are secretly rebelling.
Taxes are the leading cause of rebellions. I bet that's the problem.
You have such a wonderfully simple view of politics. It terrifies me how often you're right. Dubrillion is turning into another Alderaan. A new queen could prevent that, assuming she had the aristocracy's support. But that means taking this game to a new level. You up for that?
Don't expect me to be a politician. I solve most problems by shooting them.
There's a time and a place for everything. If someone tries to kill me, feel free to shoot them. I've put out feelers to some key Dubrillion nobles. When one of them bites, be ready to pounce. In the meantime, we have plenty of other business to keep us occupied. My search for allies in Dubrillion's aristocracy has been interesting. Got an offer from a lesser baron. What a piece of work. Guy must think I'm an idiot. Took 2 minutes to verify he's a spy for the king. He was baiting me into a trap.
If the information was that easy to find, maybe the Baron's being set up.
My sources are solid. The king keeps underestimating my intelligence. I'd feel sorry for him if he wasn't trying to kill me. I sent the spy a phony meeting request from Nera. He's sending friends to help me. They're in for a surprise. Couple of Hutts owe me a favor. They promised to record the whole thing. I'll send the king a copy. I'm reviewing the holovids of Dubrillion. Beautiful planet. Amazing oceans and forests. One of these days I'll have to see it in person.
Why wait? Give me the coordinates. I'll have us there by dinner time.
Throttle down, Captain. Don't you think I'd have visited by now if I could? Father warned me to stay away from that planet before he went into hibernation. The spaceport has genetic scanners keyed to the Drayan bloodline. The King's doing everything in his power to keep me away. I'm not taking over without inside help. Until then, I have the holovids. Never thought I'd say this, but you're my favorite partner in crime. You make beating the odds look easy, Captain.
That may be the biggest compliment you've ever paid me.
I like to mix a little praise with the insults. Keeps you off balance. I've definitely learned a few dirty tricks from watching you work. Think I might have found a few of my own. We'll find out at our next death-defying showdown. I can't wait.